Hey, welcome to another great episode of The Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Saturday, and hope everyone's enjoying the weekend. And looking forward to this great episode. I got a great guest coming up. Not a guest, podcast family. She's been on the show. I think we just said we've done so many shows together, at least 20 of them, maybe more, since 2019. So it's only right. And I'm starting a new series as well. Which football season is right around the corner, NFL and college football. So I'm starting a series, women in football and fantasy football. So I had to bring in heavy hitter and a returning guest. But before we get started, hit my intro. Let's get it. All right. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. Happy Saturday. I'm your host, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a brand new series on the show, except women in football and fantasy football, just highlighting those who are in football, who covers it, and all those things. So, very, very excited to start this series until the new season starts in NFL and college. But you can follow the show or on all social media platforms and all podcast platforms as well, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're also on Spreaker, bs3tvlive.com, BS3 Network, BS3 Network on YouTube and the Roku channel. And you can follow me at Get the Real Deal on all platforms. And also, you can follow me personally on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky. All right. Well, let me get into my guest. Like I said, podcast family, like a 20-time guest appearance on the show, at least. She's the host of Locked On Red Sox, Boston Ballin podcast as well. Also, Patriots. That's what we're going to get into today. Patriots and Celtics. We'll be talking today. So I want to welcome to the show Gabby Maljanian. I know I said that right, so
Good
I know
job,
for the first
Courtney.
time. So, newly married. Yes, newly married as well. Well, now been married now for what, 6 months or 8 months, maybe or so,
Yeah, October. So
something
yeah,
like
I think
that.
about the
Yeah, what's that? 8 months,
nine
seven,
actually.
8 months, something like that. So yeah, 9. So long time now. Yes, yes. But welcome back, Gabby. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I was telling you before, it's always a great time when we catch up. Lots of good
Yeah, it
shows.
is. Yeah, lots of good shows, a lot of good content, and you've been doing your thing, and especially on the Locked On Red Sox and the Boston Ballin podcast. I know you've been doing a lot of on the Locked On Red Sox, so and everything too. So how have you been? Glad to get you, like I said, back on. We at least do this at least 4 or 5 times a year on your show, on my show. But how's everything going?
Yeah, everything's been great. Been busy with the podcasting stuff. Now I
Yeah,
have media credentials for the Worcester
Y-
Red Sox, the AAA team.
yeah,
So I've been going back
yep.
and forth to Worcester to cover the team, and it's been great because I've been able to get player interviews and things like that. So that's really helped, enhance the podcast a little bit more, which is definitely something added to everything that's going on this year.
Yeah, for sure. And like you, and I think the last time we talked was, I think it was during March Madness, or close to it. Yeah, it might have been March Madness. And you were saying that you were gonna be credentialed and for the Rochester Red Sox, and now you're doing that, and you're at the ballpark, you're interviewing, and that's something you've been always wanting to do. So congratulations on that. And like I said, it just enhances the podcast, enhances your resume, your portfolio, all those things. So congrats. How has that been, that experience been, being at the ballpark and getting those interviews and being credentialed?
It's it's been able to cover the players a little bit more effectively because I'm actually watching them up close a lot more. So when I talk about certain players, I'm able to talk about certain aspects of their game a little bit more in depth based on what I've personally seen. And, you really get to know the personalities of some of these guys. So it allows me to talk about certain conversations I had with them and really speak to their work ethic as baseball players. So that's been really cool. The major league players also I've been able to get a lot of times if they're rehabbing with the AAA team, I'm able to chat with them as well. So it really allows me to connect with other people involved with the Red Sox organization on a lot deeper of a level, which has been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, for sure. And then I like I said, you've been been wanting to do this, and like I said, it just enhances the podcast and getting all those great guests. And you killing it with the Locked On Red Sox, and also you said, and then, yeah, of course, and that's a daily show, so I know that's a grind in itself.
Yeah, it is Monday through Friday. So constantly coming up with new content. This past week was tough because it was the All-Star break. So it was a
Mm.
little bit slower in terms of content stuff, but definitely have to constantly keep my head on a swivel in terms of coming up with new and creative content. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it's really helped me to grow a lot as a podcaster.
Yeah, for sure. And I know the Boston Ballin, you're still doing that, but he said you got to find time to be able to do that. And he said you're a credential member, and the reporter, the credential reporter, and on top of the lockdown ball, lockdown Red Sox. So I know that's probably coming up soon as well.
Yeah, no, I love Boston Balling. I mean, again, as you know, that was the OG. That was where it all started.
Yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
definitely a soft spot for me. Definitely trying to pick up more regular episodes as football season begins. I've talked
Yeah.
to some great Patriots people that I'm hoping to get on. Actually, they hired a new quarterbacks coach this off season, and he went to college with my husband. So I'm planning on
Hmm.
getting him on, so that'll be good. Talk about Drake May and everything else going on with the Patriots quarterback room. So I'm really
Oh, think I lost you there. We'll try to get Gabby back on. I know she's traveling in the car, so hopefully she can get back on. But yeah, we're going to talk. She does all things Boston mostly, um, but also well versed in other areas for the national sport media and things like that. So, but we're going to get into some Patriots talk and Celtics talk for sure. But definitely we're going to go heavy on Patriots. So let's hope that we can bring her back here. Let's see, get her back on. All right, so she'll connect. I know like probably somewhere where there's a dead zone. But before we get her back on, yeah, definitely follow Gabby. Locked On Red Sox. She's like plugged in daily show, Red Sox news and interviews and things like that, and also the Boston Ballin podcast. She's like I said, all things Boston. So let's see if we can get her back on. Yep, we got you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. That's just we know that's technology. That's how it is. It happens. So, but I can hear you loud and clear. I was just giving your background history on things that you got coming up and what we're getting ready to discuss. But before I know this is the my new football series, women in football and fantasy football. But we got to talk Celtics. We always do, and and then with the Celtics and a lot of changes. And I've been wanting to get your opinion on and takes heading into this the next season, and the Celtics season didn't end how I thought me and you both thought it was going to back into the finals, which but major injuries to their key star, Jason Tatum, with a torn Achilles. And mostly out for next season as well. But now major changes. Porzingis is traded. And Drew Holiday, so that championship team has now been dismantled as well. Al Horford maybe on the verge of retiring as well. But what was your take first on the Tatum injury? We got to start there. I know devastating on that, but what was your old take on the with Tatum now injured, and then all the changes now with the Celtics. Yep. Can you hear me?
Would break on hold when it happened, for to watch. Nothing happened to any obviously, and you know, it's definitely tough. I mean, the Celtics play them to be right now. I think season until he comes back. So
Yeah.
they kind of ended up in a spot where they were like, all right, well, we don't have Tatum for the season, so where do we kind of go from here? And you know, watching that unfold, I was thinking, you know, this really totally completely overshadows anything that losing in the playoffs would feel. The focus was no longer, oh, we're losing this series. The focus was, wow, we just lost Jason Tatum, presumably for a whole season. And I know
Yeah.
everybody's hearts just kind of dropped. But yeah, it's tough. Definitely tough. I think going into the off season, we kind of knew that there was a possibility there would be some changes even prior to Tatum getting hurt. We knew there was a chance that Porzingis and Holiday would be moved, from a
Yeah.
financial standpoint. But looking back on it now, kind of knowing that their chances of going back to the finals are probably super slim without Tatum for the year, this is kind of a reset year of, okay, let's reset the tax. Let's kind of, you know, start to build what this new look Celtics team is going to look like. So then when Tatum does come back, he has the right supporting cast again around him. But this could be a tough season upcoming, and I think that could be a tough pill for Celtics fans to swallow.
Yeah, and that was a championship roster, and then that window was open for a few years, and me and you both thought like, okay, they could get at least a couple of these finals, and I thought even this season, coming out of the East, they were gonna be the team to beat in the East, and by the looks of it, it was heading in that direction. Even when they were down 0-2 against the Knicks, I still felt like they had a shot to still win that series, at least in seven. And then the Tatum injury hit. It was just like, ugh, devastating. And now like we said yes, and like I said, maybe this was the 2 year window. Make some changes. Holiday in out, and then Porzingis, he couldn't stay healthy. Holiday was in and out of the lineup as well. Um, yeah, it's now this year they may sneak in the playoffs. It just depends on what else happens. I know they got Anthony Simons, but now they're talking about maybe moving him as well. So I don't know now. Horford's like I said, he could be retiring or at least going somewhere else. I think he's going to retire. It's probably time now. He's had a really good career as well. But yeah, it's gonna be said for Celtics fans. It's gonna be a tough season, but um, hopefully, maybe they could still sneak into the playoffs, or if not, then they'll just see what happens. And we don't know what's going to go on with Jalen Brown as well. So yeah, a lot of a lot of questions heading into this next season.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept Jalen Brown and Derek White because
Yeah,
there were
me
a lot
too.
of rumors surrounding those two this offseason and the potential of them being moved in trade. So I'm glad they
Yeah,
kept those guys intact because they do know that that's their core. When Tatum comes back, you want those guys all still on the team as that glue that kind of holds the team together. I mean, Derek White has just been such a huge asset to this team. And when the Celtics acquired him, I don't think anybody thought he was going to make the type of impact that he has been making. And now he truly is a big piece to that puzzle. So I'm really glad that they said, sorry, we're not trading these guys. I think they would have had to be really overly blown away by an offer to give up one of those two.
yeah, for sure, and especially somebody like a Jalen Brown and Derek White, who's improved so much, and has played so well for the Celtics. He's been a glue guy for them, and brings leadership and big shot making ability and defensively as well. Can guard a lot of multiple positions. So yeah, I am interested to see. And what do you think of the move of them getting Anthony Simons? I think he could definitely help them. Moving
Yeah, I
forward.
definitely think
And
he can help. He definitely fills a need for sure.
yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
he feels a need for sure. He's somebody. who I think they, may move. I don't know how sold they are on him being somebody who could be a piece of the puzzle long term, but I do feel like in the short term for right now, with where the Celtics are at right now, he kind of fills a need that they need on this current roster. But if they move him, they are going to have another hole still that they need to fill again. So I am interested in seeing how much they actually value him, but I definitely don't mind his fit with this current team right now.
Yeah, because he can put. I mean, he can put the ball. He can definitely hoop and put the ball in the basket. He's a shot maker as well, creator and shot maker too. Maybe to keep him for 1 year and see if he can be part of that core. What they have, bringing Tatum back off injury after next season. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for Celtics fans for sure. I still like Peyton Pritchard. I think he's part of that. He's definitely part of that core who played did very well last season, this past season. So yeah, so still, I think they still they'll just have to just tread water next season. Might be a painful year, but hopefully Tatum comes back very healthy and is still the All Star caliber player that he is. And they keep Jalen Brown, and maybe they can make another run in a couple of years.
Yeah, 100%. I think, their future is bright. I do trust Brad Stevens. I really like basically all the moves he's made since he has taken over as president of basketball operations. I think he really has a good eye for the game and the needs of this Celtics team. And I think he's going into this season with that recognition of, look, we might not be as competitive this upcoming season, but we can do what we can to build the pieces for the future. When we do get Tatum back, we're ready
Yeah,
to
might have
go
lost. Oh, I think you was breaking up a little bit.
and be in that mix again. And they could sneak
You there? Having some technical issues here. I know she's traveling here. See if we can get her back on again. Talk about the Celtics here. Shout out to Chris Drummond here. Thanks for tuning in. Yep, appreciate it. Appreciate you. You and all the work you're doing on your show. Oh, I got you here. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you were breaking up. You had broke up and was gone for a little bit, but I heard you say the last thing I heard you say that Celtics could sneak into the playoffs. I did hear that. So,
Yeah, they
but
could maybe. I just don't think it would be like they won't be a top seed in the East or anything like that. I just think
yeah,
if they do sneak into the playoffs, it'll be to a lesser degree than what we're used to seeing from this Celtics team, like a legitimately squeak in if they
yeah.
do. They definitely still have a lot of talent, but they do need Jason Tatum in order to really be a truly competitive team in what's a stacked Eastern Conference right now.
Right, and the East is wide open too, for sure. The East is so wide open because think of it, you got okay the Pacers, but now they one of their big stars is gonna be out with a torn Achilles as well. So you have them, the Knicks, your new coaching. So you just don't know. Halliburton again on Indiana out, he's out, and then they lose Miles Turner. So a lot of changes there. So the East is so wide open. The Bucks losing Dame Lillard lost for injury, and now he's back in Portland. So you got that. Giannis might be on the trade block. So some of the time you don't know what about the Sixers. They're iffy with a bunch of injuries, and who knows that this just read that Paul George just had surgery again, and Joel Embiid, who knows what you can't count on him. So that's just so many different, so many teams. So you got young teams, Detroit, Orlando, probably they might be the two top teams in the East along with the Knicks. yeah, the Celtics can still sneak in there as well. So, yeah,
Yeah, the
Chris.
Pistons are interesting. I mean, they have experience now. They were a young team this
Yeah,
past year, and now they've gotten that exposure, so they could be a really dangerous team going into this season.
for sure. Definitely. So so we got some comments here. Chris German, like I said, shout out to him. The Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. He said two great people, love y'all, Courtney and Gabby. Absolutely amazing sports individual. Really appreciate it. He said the Celtics could definitely be a top 5 seed. They could in the East. Yeah, it's wide open. It's very wide open. As well, as long as they know they can stay healthy. Matthew Price said, one of my best friends you're talking to, one of the best sports analysts in the country. So glad you two are doing this. Yeah, I really appreciate it as well. Appreciate the shout out by Matthew Price for sure. All right, well, let's get into some Patriots talk. That's what we came here for. NFL season is here, almost here. You know, training camp starts in next week, next 2 weeks or so. I know
Crazy.
the report. Yeah, I know, right? I know. I just saw the Eagles get their championship rings. They was up there partying and everything too. You know, that makes me excited. You know a thing or two about championships as well as a Patriots
I
fan.
do.
In a little bit, but you know a thing or two, I should say, or a thing of seven championships.
We've dabbled a little bit in the championship realm.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, you dabbled a little bit, and I'm loving this as an Eagle fan. Loving, you know, we got got the championship, and odds on favorite to try to get back there as long as they're healthy and everything too. But let's talk Patriots. A lot of changes, coaching again, and you know, Drake May going into a second season. A lot of expectations for him, who had a pretty good year. Had a pretty good year this past season as a rookie. But what's your expectations for the Patriots heading into this season?
Yeah, I think they're going to make some strides from last year. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily know that they'll be a playoff team this upcoming season, but I think they'll have a lot more respectable record than they had last year. I think, their coaching situation last year, they basically put Gerard Mayo into an impossible situation. I
Yeah,
truly
yeah,
feel with not a talented roster and as an inexperienced head coach, and that was really tough for him, I think, to adapt to. I think they
yeah,
really needed a more experienced head coach to work with this team. So bringing in Mike Vrabel, I think, is a really good choice. Somebody who knows the Patriots organization and somebody who has been there, done that with the head coaching. So that I think is going to make a huge difference this upcoming season. So I think they're going to be more competitive, than we've seen from them in the last couple of years. And Drake May now has a year under his belt, so
yeah.
we're going to see some improvement for sure. They've done some work with the roster, so I think it won't be as much of a miserable experience watching games. They'll hopefully look like a better coached, better prepared team, and they'll ideally be more competitive in a lot of these games.
Yeah, and I think that's what you probably are hoping for is competitiveness in these games. Just being more competitive. They they averaged the interesting thing. They got to score more. Reading some of their some of their stats and stuff, they averaged a league low 15 points over the past 2 years. But they like I said, they look like a team that is maybe trending in the right direction. They're putting putting a lot on Drake May. He did improve throughout the end of the season as well, and also bringing Josh McDaniels as a offensive coordinator, I think is gonna definitely help someone like a Drake May, bringing him back as well. And then he said now having with Drake May and having Mike Vrabel as coach, it looks like now they're putting and Mike Vrabel was a good coach. He was a good coach in Tennessee, and now he brings brings toughness. He played for the Patriots, and he was on the coach with Belichick as well. So yeah, I think that just brings some experience there as well. What do you think Drake May? What would be your realistic expectation for him? Let's see if we can. She might have hit a. Gabby might have hit a dead zone there, connection issues. But yeah. we'll get her back on. We'll keep talking a little bit more Patriots, but let's see. Matthew Price has a Giants and a Jets fan. Of course, I don't root for the Patriots, though. I think this year will be a pilot year for Vrabel and May, and they will return to the playoffs not this year but next year. Yeah, they're building something over there in New England, trying to really build something. And talking about Drake May, um, see if he can get into, continue to improve, and on the Josh McDaniel, who does decent with being an offensive coordinator, maybe not so much a coach because he's been fired twice as a coach, but nonetheless, high level coordinator. He had a one full season with the Raiders. They ranked 12th in scoring as well. In his last season in New England, they were ranked sixth in scoring. Yes, they did have Tom Brady, but Josh McDaniel can as office coordinator, he's definitely a better option there. But talking about Drake May and what he can actually maybe do, he's shown enough to you can envision him becoming a top 15, top 20 quarterback, maybe heading into this season. I was just talking about Drake May and what's your expectations for Drake May?
Yeah, I definitely think you bring up some good points with the Josh McDaniel situation. I think when Mac Jones was here, he had to deal with consistent changes in offensive coordinators. And I think that was part of the reason why he could have struggled in New
Mm-hmm.
England. And now that they hopefully have what should be an established foundation with where they're at now, that's going to be super important for his growth. This is a guy who, again, is very familiar with the Patriots organization and has had success in that role of working with the offense. And I think Drake May is a lot more set up for success than we saw really at all during the Mac Jones days. And also, he has a much better, hopefully, offensive line going into this season because the O line was
Yeah.
a big problem last year for the team. He didn't really have the protection. And I genuinely was scared for his health when he got
Yeah.
thrown into games last year because I said this kid could experience an injury early on because he doesn't have the protection. So they did a lot, I will say, to address the offensive line. He actually finally has some weapons that he can throw to. I think
Right.
from that regard, that's going to be a huge difference maker as well. I really still like the running back room, some strong talent there. So I do expect him to take some leaps this year because of the fact that he has more talent around him now than he did last year. And he was even putting up impressive rookie numbers last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, his numbers last year even were good for a rookie, and he
Yeah.
didn't really have the setup around him, I will say. So even despite that, I really liked what I saw from him. I think he has really good football IQ, and his decision making in
All right. Very well. See if we can get Gabby back on again. But just add on to Drake May. He seemed to be on his way as a above average quarterback. His last 10 full games last year, he averaged 223 yards passing with 15 touchdowns, which is about close to the league average. And also, he has mobility, and he's shown that what he can do. And now you just can improve. Like I said, with a competent offensive line, a better offensive line, uh, offensive coordinator, and she talked about the running back room as well. You have that as a so. All right, there you go. No problem. I know the connection's spotty, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I think I think this is gonna be a big year for Drake May. I think the Patriots actually have done a good job of trying to surround him with the best situation to succeed. I will
Yep.
say, there's still work that needs to be done. I don't think they're by any means going to be an insanely competitive team this year, but I do think I mean I have them winning 8 or 9 games this year. this upcoming season, and I think that's going to be led by May. And I was just saying, last year, even despite the fact that he didn't really have a lot of weapons, his protection was terrible. He still put up some impressive numbers for a rookie and showed
Yeah.
that the potential is there. So I'm really excited to see what he can do now with a little bit better of a roster around him.
Right. Exactly. I agree. I agree with that. And then like you say, talk about the running back room. They drafted. They have Travian Henderson, who they picked up 30. They was 38th overall pick. So he could bring some, as a pass catcher and a runner. And also they still and even though he's only 200 pounds, they still have Ramondre Stevenson, who they signed to an extension last summer, as well. He ran for 1,000 yards in 2022, but struggled last year a little bit. But they still have him. They got Antonio Gibson. So the running back room, they're trying to build around Drake May as well, and then also a receiver, Stephon Diggs. Hopefully, hopefully he stays out of getting into a little bit of those curricular activity, extracurricular activities uh, that he's doing and get back on the field. But he's coming off an injury as well, um, with ACL tear. So, but he's 31. So they're trying to build around. They're trying to build around Drake May. So, and they said the offensive line could try to protect as well, and they're trying to get Drake May some weapons. Demario Douglas. We'll get her back on. Mac Hollins, and they have Mac Hollins for the receiver. Hunter Henry as their main weapon for main red zone weapon as a tight end. So yeah, they're trying. I give the Patriots, and hopefully they can improve a little bit as well. But let's try to get Gabby back on. It's not gonna keep her too much longer because of with the connection issues. We're gonna just talk about the defense and then see what she's got coming up. See if we can get her back on one more time as well. But yeah, we'll get into some of the defense with the Patriots. So and Mike Vrabel, that's his specialty. So that we should see some improvement with the Patriots with on the defensive end as well, and also new coordinator Terrell Williams. They changed their scheme and personnel. Um, so we'll see what happens, and Vrabel brings a lot of toughness to that. All right, got you back on. As well, but no problem. But I was going to talk a little bit about the defense before I let you go. What do you think now? This is Vrabel's specialty. Also, like I said, the new coordinator Terrell Williams. They've changed scheme and personnel. But what's your take on the defense? With the Patriots maybe moving forward defensively, getting better on that end.
Yeah, they definitely have some young pieces on the defensive line right now. As you said, Mike Vrabel's a defensive guy, similar to how Belichick was. So the Patriots have
Yeah,
always kind of been a really defensive heavy team. I think that's going to be a key going into this season is, what's the defense going to look like? Because the last couple seasons, the concern more relied on the offense and the offensive line. And, I think they got some good pieces there. So I'm interested in seeing how the defense catches up to that because this could be a season of growth for the Patriots defense, for sure. And I think, with Vrabel at the helm, I think that's going to help a lot with the defensive scheme. But it'll be interesting to, see how that goes because that's definitely an area of question that I still have, based on kind of some key pieces that since they've lost over the last couple of years defensively. And I think that's an area where they could struggle this season. But I think hopefully as time progresses, that's an area over maybe not just this season, but in the future, next year or the year after, where the defense really catches up to where the rest of this team is at.
yeah, and it goes to show, like even with health as well. I know they got to stay healthy, and as you said, 8-9 wins is not impossible. Really, it could happen. It's just everything's got to break even. And defensively, I think this is where Vrabel really will shine And I know he with his scheme, he talked about a more attacking and disruptive playing style, especially from the defensive line. They picked up Milton Williams from the Eagles, which is that's a big key as well. And I'm just going through the roster: fourth round pick Joshua Farmer, so that beefs up the interior. And we'll also that and edge rusher, edge defenders like Keon White, Harold Landry III, Anthony Jennings. So that they definitely invested in the defensive line, and they if they want to get have that attacking disruptive playing style.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I think it's going to be about playing with discipline. I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed
Yeah,
from last year, on the
right.
defensive side of the ball in particular, was they would make mistakes because of lack of discipline, and that's going to be something that I'm really hoping that they implement this year is a little more defensive discipline with this team, because it would drive me nuts, all those defensive penalties and mistakes that they made last year, and even the year before that. So that's going to be a big key for me too, is how do they adapt to making sure that that doesn't happen, especially with a lot of young pieces on this team. I think that's something that they really need to enforce going into this upcoming season, as well as a lot less sloppy play and just not clueless football.
Yes, right, right, and it always and it comes down to the improvement on both sides of the ball. Drake May's growth, continued growth, also, and how he's able to handle this. And he said they're building the team around him. They're trying to build, so that helps. And again, with Vrabel at the helm, they definitely should improve. Then with the AFC East, last one I want to ask you before I let you go, the AFC East, there's a lot of change. Buffalo, they're the team to beat still in that AFC East, but Jets have made some changes for quarterback coaching as well. We don't know in Miami with the health of Tua. That's always a question with that, and does Tyreek Hill, does he want to be there? So the Patriots do have an opportunity to maybe get those 7, 8, 9 wins if it all if it all falls in the right place and the right place with it. So it's definitely possible in the AFC East.
100%, I agree. Oh, I think something that could happen this year that we haven't seen from the Patriots in a bit is I think they could split against Buffalo this year. I could see them maybe beating Buffalo at home, which could be a surprise to some. But I think they are going to be more competitive against their division than we've seen, because a lot of those circumstances that you mentioned, Buffalo definitely the clear cut favorite still to win the division. But I think we see the Patriots maybe pick up some wins against their division that last year's team would not have. And I think that's going
Yeah.
to be key when it comes to their record this upcoming season, is those division matchups, and, how they are able to take advantage of playing those teams. And obviously they never win in Miami. That's always a penciled in loss every single year.
Yeah.
But maybe
Right.
they can change that narrative as well.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely could. And then you're right. You bring up a lot of good analysis on. They're just trying. They're building, and it could take a year or two, but I think they have the right coach. And I think, and you said, I really believe Drake May could definitely be their quarterback of their future as long as he continues to keep improving, for sure. But Gabby, it's been always a pleasure catching up with you. Really appreciate you coming on. Let everyone know what you got coming up. I know you said with football season, then you're entrenched in baseball for sure, and everything. But let everyone know where they can find you and want to reach out to you and what you got coming up.
Yeah, sure. So you can find Boston Balling and Locked On Red Sox on YouTube or any other podcast platform. You can also follow me on Twitter at Gabby Maljanian, or on Instagram at Gabby_Maljanian10. And Locked On Red Sox you can find on Twitter at LO_Red Sox. Boston Balling on Twitter at Boston Balling. Pretty simple.
Mhm.
So yeah, you can find those shows wherever you listen to podcasts. I have tons of good guests lined up for both coaches, athletes, media personnel. So you definitely will not want to miss that, especially as football season does approach. And before we know it, we will be talking football, and then just around the corner after that, the Celtics season will kick off again. So everything comes up fast. I feel like once August hits, it's just a whirlwind of everything starting up. So you definitely won't want to miss those shows, because some of these guests will be able to provide some really good insight for you.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to always the content, and like you said, football will be here, and then you be talking Celtics, and and then next thing you know, hockey as well. So yeah, it's all yeah, it's August. August is this is like the month that we have off, and that's it. And but content
Literally,
just
it's like the one
continues.
slow period of the sports year.
Yeah, right. A few weeks, but then now football's here within the next week, and then we'll be talking preseason and all that. So, but Gabby's, thank you again. I can't thank you enough for like the 20th time being on the show or something like that. It's at least been that, I think, at least 15, 20
Yes.
times.
No,
But I'm so glad.
it's
It's always a pleasure catching up and talking with you. But with everything you got going on, I look forward to uh, all the like I said, all the content and all the guests and things like that. And I'm sure I'll be on your show sooner or later too. So I'm sure we'll be doing this again.
Oh yeah, 100%. Always, we'll make the time. I'll be reaching out to you, and we'll be chatting for sure. Always a great time. Thanks so much again for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, you enjoy your trip. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll be in touch. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. You too.
All right. Thank you, Howard. Have a good one. All right, that was Gabby Maljanian. It's funny to, now last name is Maljanian, and so used to saying Hurlbutt, but married now, so Gabby Maljanian. Yeah, follow all her she's so plugged in with Boston sports, for all major sports and everything too. Not just Boston, but she definitely does great work and on the Boston scene. And you could catch her on Locked On Red Sox, Boston Ballin podcast as well. And continue to be plugged in and follow her, follow the YouTube channel as well, and her on all the podcasts and platforms. But you can follow me on all the platforms as well, and BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com. The Real Deal with Courtney Harden. If you Google it, it's on all, like I said, all the podcast platforms as well. Well, that's a wrap for the show. Got more great guests coming up next week, so be on the lookout for that as well. And then until next time, as always, everyone stay safe, peace, and God bless.